DJ Rock, let this beat.
Welcome to another episode of Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will. I am your man, Captain Will. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe to Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will so I can continue to bring you that gospel of Gamecocks every single day, y'all. You can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If it's iHeartRadio, if it's Apple Podcasts, if it's Spotify, if you digging that, and especially on YouTube, every single day covering daily Gamecock women's basketball. The only one that's doing it. And there's nobody better. You're now rocking with the best. And since you're rocking with the best, come rock with your man, Captain Will. Hey, we got to go today, y'all. I said we got a good one today, y'all. We are previewing the game against the Tennessee Volunteers. We are previewing that big game tomorrow night on ESPN prime time, 1900 hours. It's going down. It's a away game. It is a huge game by every metric that you could talk about. Now Tennessee is not ranked. Let's not get it twisted, but Tennessee has that rivalry. They have that legacy, and they are a good basketball team, possibly in the NCAA tournament. Before we dive deep into the Tennessee situation, first off, it is Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day today, February 14th. Me and my baby going out. I'm gonna take her out for a nice out of town in Charlotte. Gonna do our thing, and she don't know where we're going, but it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be nice because that's how Captain Will does. I take care of my baby. Now, for all the fellas, and I'm just talking about the fellas today. I'm just talking about the fellas. That's all I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about the fellas. Fellas, if it is 13:45 as I record this game. 13:45, 1:45 p.m. Okay, dudes, if you ain't got nothing for your wife today, you still got time. You know them cats who always be on the side of the road selling those flowers and bouquets and baskets and stuff. You still got time. It is not over yet. Because if you trying to make a real nice restaurant type reservation today, it ain't happening. That stuff been booked for weeks. It ain't happening. So now I'm sure you could go to take your lady to maybe a decent restaurant, and have a good meal and have a good time, or you could take her to the movies. You could take her you can come up with some type of idea of doing something today. What you better not do, fellas, if you got a lady and you don't do nothing, oh, it's a problem. Y'all need to come see me. And the girlies and Mimis and Nanas and all these different folks. If y'all man ain't doing nothing for y'all on today, y'all hit me up in the comments. Hit me up in the comments. I'm very sorry. If they don't. But still time. Let's talk about Tennessee. Tennessee is currently ranked 43rd in the net ranking. Strength of schedule 6th in the country. Really good strength of schedule. Solid in that ranking. 15-8 overall, 8-3. 8-3 in the conference. SEC play. Okay? They beat some solid teams. They've also lost to some solid teams. That's why we got the 15-8 record. Now, some of those games, Rickea Jackson was out. Okay? So that's a little caveat. Okay? Field goal percentage, that's 67th in the country. 67th in the country in field goal percentage offensively. Okay? Offensive rating, they have a good offensive rating of 49th. 49th in the country, which is really good. Field goal percentage 67th, 2-point percentage 65th. 3-point percentage 131st. And not a really good 3-point shooting basketball team. That I think offensively, that's their Achilles heel. They don't shoot the 3-ball well. Okay? Just about, a little bit above average. Field goal percentage solid. 2-point percentage solid. 3-point percentage, they're lacking a little bit. Assists per game, they're 45th in the country. 45th in the country, which makes them, I would say above average team in assists. Fewest turnovers, 159th. 159th in turnovers, about average. Okay? Assist to turnover ratio, 65th. So in most cases, they still take care of the ball. They take care of the ball, and and what helps that assist to turnover ratio is their solid play in assists per game at 45th. Okay? Offensively, I think they're a solid basketball team. And you know, the first name that we always think about when we talking about Tennessee is Rickea Jackson. I mean, she's a fifth-year senior. She could have probably went to the W last year, but she came back. So the first name that we think about is Rickea Jackson. But here's a fun fact, y'all. This is a fun fact. Rickea Jackson is not their best offensive player. Like, Cap, why you say that? Because she leads the team in the points. She's leading the team in rebounds. Well, she also leads the team in turnovers too. Okay, she leads the team in turnovers. She's averaging 4 turnovers a game. So she getting her 19 points. She getting her 8 rebounds. She getting her 2 assists. But she is also getting 4 turnovers per basketball game. That means a lot when you're playing the number 1 defensive team in the country. It means a lot. And this is the Captain Will's way of peeling back that onion that other media outlets don't do. They don't do that. You know, we just say, because the only thing we look at the box score, and we don't even look at the full box score. The only thing we're concerned about is points, rebounds, and assists. That's it. But we don't talk about turnovers. A lot of times we don't talk about block shots unless it's South Carolina. But Rickea Jackson is very talented. Their best offensive player overall is Joel Spear. Joel Spear is their best offensive player. If you want to keep it real, she's averaging 30 minutes a game, 16 points a game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 51% from the field, 42% from 3. She's their best offensive player, you know, and less than 2 turnovers a game. Turnovers matter, y'all. Turnovers matter. We need to keep an eye on that. You keep an eye on that. And as the season percolate, as the season matriculate, you know, we'll talk more about, you know, diving into numbers in terms of turnovers, offensive ratings, because I always talk about offensive ratings as a team, but I'm starting to talk about offensive rating and defensive rating as individuals. And Joel Spear offensive rating is 123.1. That means she scores 123.1 points per 100 possessions. You know what I mean? That and it factors in, and not just points. It factors in everything: points, rebounds, assists, block shots, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, turnovers, everything. Everything is put in this cool formula. And I'm all about formula. I used to like chemistry when I was a kid. Everything turns it together, and it spits out that Joel Spears is their best offensive player, which is cool. That's cool. She could be their best offensive player because she got to deal with some situations against the number 1 basketball team. Okay? In AP poll, in net rating, in defensive rating, and field goal percentage allowed, all these different things, South Carolina is so much better. So we have this situation where you know, the offensive rating for Tennessee is good. They're good. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the South Kakalaka Gamecocks, okay? We're talking about the South Kakalaka Gamecocks, who's number 1 defensively. Number 1 defensively. And if we're going to talk about defense, because I always talk about South Carolina being the number 1 team defensively. Like, okay, what are we digging? What are we talking about, Cam Will? What are we saying? Because a lot of folks just look at the points allowed. Points allowed don't matter. That's a cheap way. That's easy way. Oh, look at the points allowed. No. That don't tell the story. That's just part of the story. That's just the first chapter. We got to go past the first chapter. We got to keep on going in that book. I know a lot of y'all don't like to read, just like I don't like to read. We under Instagram and Twitter and the Facebook. I know most of us is middle age, so we talking about the Facebook era and all things like that. So just short scripts and all that stuff. So I ain't the type of cat that like to read books no more like that. I hear the audio version. I like that. But if we keep going through a couple more chapters and we see why South Carolina is the number 1 team defensively, this is the reason why. This is the reason why. South Carolina, individually in SEC play, hear me now, has the top 5 defenders in the country. They have the top 5 defensive ratings in the country defensively. Top 5. That is why we're so dominant. The number 1 and number 2 ranked players defensively in the SEC. In the SEC is number 1, Ashlyn Watkins. Number 2, Kamilla Cardoso. That is why we're so good defensively. That is why. Raven Johnson is in the top 5 in the conference. Defensively. We are so special defensively. I'm not making numbers up. I'm not just saying, because Captain Will, that's your team that you're going to always talk about, how good we are. I'm just saying what it is. We are the top rated defensive team because we have the 5 best defensive players that happen to play for South Carolina by the defensive rating metric. Not Tennessee, not LSU, not Vanderbilt, not Ole Miss. South Carolina stands by their defense. Now, Tennessee got some solid players. Puckett, she's averaging 27 minutes a game, 9 points a game, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, shooting about 47% from the field. 39% from 3. Solid offensive player. You got Powell, 29 minutes a game. And Powell, one of the better offensive players. 10 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. She leads the team in assists. But also, she has several turnovers as well. She also have averaged about two turnovers, a little bit over 2 turnovers a game. But she's 41% for the field. 3-point line, she's about 20%. So you ain't gonna see no 3-pointers in this basketball team. And we lament about how good offensively Tennessee is. I mean, so when you talk about offense, you got to talk about defense too, right? To both sides of the coin, heads or tails. Offensive defensive rating for Tennessee ain't good. Ain't good at 225th in the country. Defense is optional. They play defense on the way to playing offense. Not effective defensively at all. Field goal percentage 151st in the country. 151st in the country, about halfway. 360 teams. 2-point percentage 95th. 2-point percentage. 3-point percentage 283rd. Somebody talked about somebody give te-hina Powell a call right now. So make sure that those arms are iced up because she's about to launch up some stuff. 283rd and playing against the top 3 ranked offensive 3-point shooting team in the country. I don't know if you're ready for this one right here. I don't know if you are ready for this one right here. But steals a game. There are 360 Division I women's basketball teams in the country. 360. In steals per game, Tennessee ranked 322nd. That is a problem because you're not causing turnovers. You depending on your putrid defense to stop South Carolina in a half-court situation, which is you just playing with fire. You're just playing for fire. And then with blocks per game, so defensively you're not getting steals and you're not getting blocks per game because you're 193rd in the country. 193rd in the country. So our bigs gonna have a field day. They have a field day tomorrow. But not only our bigs, our guards too gonna have a field day tomorrow because you don't really play defense. I don't care about offensive numbers, right? Because if you score 2 and you give up 2, you're breaking even, right? But how about if you score 2 and the other team scores 3 because you don't play defense? That's the situation that Tennessee is in. That is the situation why they're 15-8 overall. That is the situation because they're a good offensive team, but they're not a good defensive team. So you got South Carolina, who's number 3 in offense and number 1 in defense, playing a team that is 225th in defense and 67th in offense. That don't pan out right. So you might have a player that the capability of a Jules Spear. You might have a player the capability of a Puckett. You might have a player the capability of a Powell and a Rickea Jackson. But defensively, Jules Spear is their best offensive weapon. Well, that's all great. That's gravy and everything. But defensively, she's their biggest liability. Her defensive rating is 97.6, one of the highest in defensive ratings in the SEC. So okay, you score, but you also give up on the defensive end. Rickea Jackson, 5th-year senior, solid, getting 19 and 8, solid offensive player, but she don't play defense. She's one of the worst defensive players in the post in the SEC. One of the worst. And you got Kamilla Cardoso, potentially Kamilla Cardoso and Ashley Watkins and Chloe Kitts coming to town tomorrow. Oh, my Lord, I like my chances. In this basketball game against their defense. I like my chances. Powell, 96.3, they don't play defense, y'all. They're starters. Or defensive rating is over 95. They're starters. That's terrible, y'all. That is terrible. In my Charles Barkley voice, that's terrible. That's terrible. Players on South Carolina offensively are going to have a good time tomorrow night. And I know they got the crowd. They're going to be lit. Kellie Harper's a good coach. I know all these things. They got the legacy. They got the statues, got all this stuff. ESPN, it's going to be a lot of things going on. A lot of things going on in these girls' play in minds. But at the end of the day, it's basketball. In South Carolina, the more talented team offensively and defensively. So a situation where you're at 225th in the country, 225th in the country, you offensively, I'm expecting some big games from 3, potentially 4 players. 3, potentially 4 players. Okay? So here's a question. Here's a question. Who has the highest offensive rating in the SEC? I'll wait. While y'all think about it, I'll wait. I'll take a sip of water. I'll wait. The person who has the highest offensive rating in the SEC is none other than te-hina Powell. She has the highest offensive rating. Okay? Her offensive rating is 130.5. Higher than Angel Reese, higher than Rickea Jackson, higher than anybody in the SEC. Anissa Morrow, any of these players. te-hina Powell, okay, is having the best offensive year in the SEC. Does she have the most points? Nope. She's not averaging the most points. She's not averaging the most rebounds. She's not averaging the most assists in the SEC. But she's leading the SEC in 3-point percentage. She is a sharpshooter galore. And by the metric, she is number 1 in offensive rating. So I expect te-hina Powell to light up Tennessee's soft defense. If Kamilla Cardoso plays tomorrow, she's going to eat Tennessee alive. Kamilla Cardoso has the 3rd highest offensive rating in the SEC. Number 1 is Powell. Number 2 is Angel Reese, and Cardoso is number 3. She's going to eat them up. I expect Bree Hall to ball out tomorrow. I expect, especially if Kamilla Cardoso doesn't play, If Kamilla Cardoso doesn't play, I expect Ashlyn Watkins to tear them up tomorrow offensively. I expect her to get increased minutes like she's been doing over the last couple games. I expect her to shoot that mid-range jumper. I expect her to ball out tomorrow. Okay? Tennessee is bad defensively. And our players are going to get them. I don't want to sugarcoat nothing, but we are going to light them up in Tennessee. Because they don't play defense. They don't play defense. I just don't. I don't want you to forget that situation where defense wins games and stuff and championships. Well, South Carolina's number 1 defense, and Tennessee is not very good defensive. So we're going to tear them up. Our offensive players are going to light them up. And defensively, they got the 67th ranked team. Offensively, well, Ashlyn Watkins has the lowest defensive rating in the SEC. And right now, the player of the year defensively is Ashlyn Watkins. Right now, she's a player of the year defensively. She's leading the conference in blocks a game. And she has the lowest defensive rating. Okay? And she's coming off the bench half the time, I guess. And if Kamilla Cardoso, plays, you got 2 of the top ranked players in the defense in the SEC going against a good to really good offense. But they ain't got no match for that. They ain't got no match. No match. And then Raven Johnson. Because I've been saying for a long time, Bree Hall was our best perimeter defender. Check it. Raven Johnson, by the numbers, is having a better defensive year than Bree Hall. By the numbers, Raven Johnson is having one of the best defensive years in the SEC. If defensive and then and Breezy's still up there. Breeze is still up there in the top areas. You know what I'm saying? The higher echelon, because she put in that work. And you can ask Paige Beckers, did she put in that work on Sunday? But Raven Johnson, right now, is balling out defensively. So we get the question. We get that question like, oh, man, Captain Will, why you love Raven Johnson so much? Why is she your favorite player? She's my favorite player because she plays offense well and she plays defense exceptionally well. That's why she's my favorite player, y'all. That's why. And I'm gonna hear some comments because I always hear from Iowa, and I always hear from Iowa, and then talking about Caitlin Clark. Defensive rating for Caitlin Clark is 88.8. 88.8 for defensive rating is terrible. Raven Johnson is 72.4. And then the question is always like, but she scores like 40 and go to set the record and all these things. Her offensive rating is 120.8. You know who has a higher offensive rating on our team than Caitlin Clark? Because we spread the ball around. te-hina Powell, Kamilla Cardoso, Bree Hall, and she's tied with Ashlyn Watkins. Offensive rating. Who would have ever thought that? Just because you shoot 15 3-pointers in a basketball game does not make you efficient. Speak on that. It don't. The most efficient offensive player in the country is te-hina Powell. Imagine that. So my prediction for this basketball game tomorrow is that it's at Tennessee's place. We got to travel, so we got to deal with the travel thing. It's on ESPN, so we got to deal with that. But I will say, I think the odds are the line is about 12 points. You go over there. We beat Tennessee more than 12 points. I'm talking about tomorrow night. You might see upwards of 20 to 25 point victory for South Carolina tomorrow night. I don't see a scenario, especially if Kamilla Cardoso plays, where they can defend us offensively. I don't see a scenario. None. You just don't change into a good defensive team overnight. It don't happen. It don't happen. Will they score some points? For sure. They're going to score some points tomorrow. They are. But their offense is not as good as our offense. We're a much better offensive team, and we're much better, damn sure much better defensive team than them. I'm saying 20 to 25 point victory for South Carolina as we continue to be undefeated overall and in SEC play and get ready for Georgia on Sunday, which will be another blowout. This concludes another episode of Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will. Make sure you like it, share it, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. If you're a subscriber to me on YouTube, subscribe to me on the other platforms as well. Make sure you do that because I don't want you missing out on a episode daily from your man, Captain Will. You're not rocking with the best. And since you are rocking with the best, come rock with your man, Captain Will. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, J-Rock did this.